You have one superpower, the ability to know without fail what the truth is to any asked question. You plan to help the world as a superhero. It took you 6 hours for the government to declare you public enemy number one and the most deadly supervillain alive. When I walked into the hero recognition office, I thought I was going to save the world. By the time I walked out, I knew I would be the one to end it. I got my superpower on the 4th of July. Some of my friends and I had gone down to the beach to light some fireworks. It was illegal, of course, and dangerous, but there were enough people doing it already that one extra group wouldn't hurt too much. At least that's how we'd reasoned it to each other. We'd gone pretty far down the beach to avoid the police, and we were running out of fireworks, so I drunkenly decided to launch all the rest at once for a finale. I placed the 3 of them in a line and started lighting one by one. To my credit, I actually succeeded, but one of them turned out to be a dud, so I did what any reasonable person would know not to do and walked up to it. The next thing I saw was total darkness. It's in moments like these where you can catch a glimpse of the truth. It glowed like a firefly above me, taunting me for being human. Physicists call it the theory of everything, Plato called it the good, whatever you want to call it. I liked Fullmetal Alchemist's simple name, the truth. Most have no idea that it's just within reach. You might see it when you sleep, or on your deathbed, or, like me, when you've been knocked unconscious, but it's always just far away enough that you can never grasp it. But that day I did the one remarkable thing in my entire life, at least besides the things that were remarkably stupid, and caught it mid-flight. I woke up with my girlfriend Ariella standing over me, her lips pressed thin with anxiety. I felt the rough sand beneath me and realized that I must not have been out for very long. When she saw that I was awake, she stormed off. 2 of my friends, Zach and Daniel, were in a heated argument about whether the police should be allowed to put you on hold, which I gathered was why I was still on the beach. When they noticed that I was awake, they scurried over. "I can't fucking believe you did that," said Zach. I looked over at them and with a straight face said, "You know, the reason why they put you on hold is that the calling center was overwhelmed. If you had called 2 minutes earlier, then an old man would have died of a heart attack." After a moment or two of puzzled looks, they both burst into laughter. "And how would you know?" I looked at the sky. It was true, that statement was absurd, and yet I'd felt so confident about it. I looked back at Zach and Daniel. "Okay, this is going to sound weird, but I want you guys to ask me something I would have absolutely no way of knowing." Daniel was the first to respond. "All right, what's up with her?" He pointed with his thumb at Ariella smoking a cigarette in the distance. "She's upset because I barely talked with her for 2 weeks and then pulled some shit like this. She's thinking about breaking up because I'm too erratic and she's pulling too much weight in the relationship and it's starting to feel one-sided," I replied almost instantly. Daniel stared wide-eyed while Zach looked from me to Ariella and back repeatedly. The scene would have made me laugh had I not just learned that my girlfriend was thinking about breaking up with me. It was Zach who responded next. "So we can ask you anything?" I looked up at him, shaken. "I think so." 3 months later I was on my way to the official hero recognition office to announce my power. By then I'd figured out that I could answer written questions and by extension, ask myself anything, meaning that I had all the knowledge in the universe. Almost shaking with excitement, I entered the building. This was it. I was going to meet all the heroes I'd grown up idolizing. I was greeted instead by a middle-aged bureaucrat in a suit. First I had to prove that my power existed. More people pretend they have powers than one would think. They made an entire government agency to regulate it. And so I was herded past the gymnasium area, where I could see people performing various superhuman feats, and into a small room with a desk, where I was seated in front of yet another middle-aged government official, though this one had whiter hair. The first question he asked was how I found out about my power, and so I answered. His brow furrowed. In hindsight, I should have seen this coming. Science has already documented how powers exist, and mine is an irregularity, to say the least. "You say you can answer any question?" I nodded my head. They had tests prepared ahead of time, at least for the most interesting reports. "What's in the safe behind me?" An Eco-Drive men's chronograph with a satellite Wave F900 GPS and a 49mm blue leather strap. I didn't need to give all that detail, but I wanted to impress, and, while I can't manipulate the answers I give, they can be influenced by what I want to accomplish. The man massaged his beard. "All right, what is the largest threat to human survival?" Without hesitation and with complete confidence I repeated my own name.